Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is the most fun one yet to another post-game show of the Let's Talk Broncos and the David Talks Broncos podcast. We've got a lot to celebrate today. The Broncos look great. Playoffs within reach. The defense has one of its best performances of the day. That's going to get slept on, but 6 points off the top of my head, I think is the least they've allowed all season.
Yeah.
Right? And then on top of that, even the Jets in that monsoon got up to 9. So you have maybe the best defensive performance of the season, the best offensive performance of the season. It sets, again, the playoff odds up really, really well. Even the Chiefs are losing right now as we talk about all this great stuff going on in Broncos country. So we're riding high. David, where are you at right now?
I feel amazing. My body doesn't feel amazing, guys. I'm not trying to steal Mario's vibe from Altitude Adjustment, but I look like Bob Costas right now with my allergies. So I got the shades on. As you said, Zach, the future is too bright for this Broncos team, man. We wanted to go realistically 1-2 coming out of here. Out of this 3-game stretch, and I think we would all be feeling good. You know, that's what we said before the Ravens game. And for us to respond against coming off of that heartbreak game last week, not only did we respond, but we totally dominated, man. We crushed a really good opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. And yeah, you know, they had some pieces missing on defense, but that's still a high-flying offense. We shut them down. And Bo Nix, baby, we were all saying it. I feel like all Broncos country was saying it, that this was the game where he was going to throw for over 300 yards, 4 TDs, the fashion in which he did it, the usage of Marvin Mims. We figured out how to unlock Marvin Mims. Troy Franklin making some plays. Little Jordan Humphrey even looked good at the end. That's nice. Devon Vele. There's just so much to be excited about as we get into the home stretch of this regular season. But man, I'm on top of the world. I feel great. I'm glad I can put this on again, Zach. It's been a few weeks, and man, I just can't wait. This team is turning the corner. They're getting better every single week, and we got to be feeling good about where we're at right now in the wild card standings. So thoughts on all that, Zach?
I mean, all of it I feel good about. I'll go with the wild card standings first, because obviously winning this one is big. Last week, I think I was on here talking about how, you know, even if they lose to the Falcons and go 0-3, which we didn't want them to do over that stretch, but even 0-3 would have been survivable, would have been harder, but the path was there. Winning this one is huge for their playoff odds. It was one of the hardest games remaining on their schedule. I'd say second hardest, probably. I think that Chiefs game is going to be a squad of backups. So Chargers on the road is the only game I thought was going to be tougher than this one. And then, goodness, I cannot find a week 11 schedule all of a sudden to save my life. But a lot of
the Jets blew another game to the Colts. That was hilarious to watch.
Yes, which it sucks that the Colts are still in it. But removes the Jets from the pictures entirely, which is nice. You're gonna have Bengals Chargers tonight, which either of those teams losing kind of benefits the Broncos.
Yep.
Hopefully the Bengals lose. That would just make it a little easier. But with how the Broncos look today, maybe you're feeling bold enough that, hey, I don't really care about that 7 seed. I want that 6 seed. Let's go chase the Chargers down. I'm not worried about the Bengals catching us. I'm worried about having to play the number 2 seed. Let's go get that spot from the Chargers, because they'll have the game left on the schedule. It is feasible. But yeah, most of the games this week, I guess they really didn't have a lot of breaks go their way. Just looking at the schedule really quick. Ravens losing, I guess, because the Ravens are looking like a wild card team right now. But so far, not a lot of big boosts to the Broncos odds, actually, outside of the Broncos win. Nonetheless, that's a huge boost to the odds. That puts them at 6-5. You have Browns and Raiders coming up. Those are 2 bad teams. That right there should get you to 8-5. Then you have a bye week, and then the Colts at home. I mean, it lines up really well for the Broncos. And I said it last week. I'll say it again now. if they can't take care of business with the remaining slate they have, I don't think they deserve to make the playoffs. This lines up perfectly for them. There are enough wins left on that schedule, not even getting into the idea that week 18 is probably a squad of backups. I think the Broncos should be feeling good right now. I think the conversation we should be having is David's 10-win bet going to hit? Are they going to maybe be a 9-8 wildcard team or a 10-7 wildcard team? I think that's the more interesting debate at this point in time than whether or not the Broncos make the playoffs.
I got a car to pay off, man. So let's hope. Let's hope that the Broncos hit this 10-win mark. I think it would be fantastic. And right now, we've said it, Zach. This team's playing with house money. Enjoy the development from Bo Nix, the wins, how far we go, getting playoff eligible, moving forward in the playoffs. Like, that's all just icing on top of the cake for what is a great year right now. Brandon Perna put out a video this weekend about just how terribly run the Chicago Bears are and how it might look like they're ruining another quarterback. Nah, man, we don't got to worry about any of that, man. We're in the right position. And I'm not scared of going up against any of these other teams in the playoffs because, hey, we're not going to be favored. We're not going to be expected to do anything. Give me that rematch against Pittsburgh. Let's see how we can do against a team like the Bills, right? I'm just, might we get lucky and face, I think, a vulnerable team in the Houston Texans if we continue to work our way up the wild card standings. I think that we might be playing farther into January maybe than we might expect. But I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, Zach. But I'm just feeling great. This is a good team that we absolutely dominated, and our young guys took another step alongside Bo today, and I think that's also really encouraging.
Yeah, I'm with you. And let's spend some time on the Bo of it all because he looked awesome. I don't know. And it's not, to me, I think you see some of these rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks sometimes. And it's like Jared Goff immediately comes to mind. But it's like, they're getting a lot of things schemed up here. Even non-young quarterbacks like Sam Darnold in that Vikings offense. If you watch much of the Vikings this season, you can see maybe not the layups, but the wins that the offense is affording the quarterback. And that's not to say that this offense isn't doing that. There's definitely some well-designed stuff in there. But it's not gadgety, I guess is the word I want to use. There's not a lot of gadgety nonsense in here. And then even when you're going outside of that, I think of the little Jordan Humphrey touchdown. Now we're seeing Bo Nix fire from those awkward platforms and it's working. He's reined it in. He knows when to tap into that beast. And it's so exciting. It's obvious how much the game has slowed down for him. Now I think we can, hey, everybody, let's be real. Those first two games were really bad. Okay. I think people were a little uncomfortable about it at first.
Yeah.
Coming on here, having to have that conversation. It was not an easy sell. I had to let people down a little gently. But those first two games, it was not good quarterbacking. He looked frazzled. He looked, I don't want to say scared, but frantic out there, I think is a good word. It was moving very, very fast for him. He was incredibly inaccurate. Looking over the last month of football, he is an elite quarterback on third downs. The most important down in the game. He's the most accurate quarterback in football on third down. It's come to the point, and I noticed this last week, but it was especially true this week, where I'm like, no, let it rip. Like they had that the second drive, they have to punt, which barely happened today. But on the second drive, they had to punt, and I was like, man, I hate going to the screen there on third down. Like, let Bo rip. I'm like, I've never had thought that about a third down, with a Broncos quarterback, or not never, but not since Peyton Manning have I felt that sort of conviction.
And can I piggyback on that really quick, Zach?
Please go.
Not only the third down, like having faith in our offense on third down, but also if we have a holding call, if we have a dumb personal foul call, something like that, 1st and 25, I'm not worried. I'm not worried since Peyton Manning.
Not a drive killer. That's such a great point.
We can overcome that now as an offense where we just haven't been able to. And it's crazy, man, that we're feeling this way with a rookie quarterback right now.
I would be really happy if this season went the way of like even the Panthers game, or the Saints game, even if there were like some really ugly moments, but overall like solid, if he kind of was at that level, not that I'd want to see him plateau, but if he was around there, give or take, throughout the rest of this season, I'd be happy with that. And then coming into next year, we had this leap from him, and it was like, wow, he's piecing it together. Game's slowing down. The fact that this is happening week 11 is this guy's not had his bye week yet. That's another thing. I remember talking about like Justin Fields having some big development moments early on in his Bear careers around bye weeks. You do like these before bye week, after bye week splits. I think Caleb Williams, maybe the Bears kind of went off a cliff after the bye week. That was his thing. But it's common. You see these quarterback kind of pre-bye week, post-bye week splits. Man, I can't wait to see what Bo Nix looks like after a week of like looking at all this film, because I think you saw a huge leap from him after the mini bye week following that aforementioned Saints game. So it's so many boxes that he's checking right now. He's got the physical tools. It might not be Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, like just ludicrous level, but he's got, he's plenty fast enough. He's a dynamic runner, obviously. His arm can make just about any throw on the field. There's some windows he's not going to be able to jam things into, but
yeah,
that's a B to B plus arm. And then the growth and the mental processing, like the Devon Vele play, where he kills the original play call. So got a good read on the defense pre-snap, obviously. Also a credit to his mastery of the offense, that he has that ability, that he's getting 2 play calls in the huddle. But kills that at the line of scrimmage. Clearly a right call to do so. And the way it's on the money to Blake, but when he throws it, the anticipation there. Drew Lock to this day doesn't have that level of anticipation. Teddy Bridgewater, frankly, I don't know, is that good of a anticipatory thrower, or was during his time in Denver. Because he throws it between 2 defenders, threading a needle, and the receiver's not in the frame when he lets go of that ball. And then just, it's on the money. It's gorgeous. I cannot believe how good it's looking this fast. After D-Bronx had this comment earlier, I was scared. Every time Bo dropped back up until week 8, 9. This confidence is newfound for me. I don't think I had this until the Chiefs game, even as Bo Nix started to stack these performances. Now I'm expecting good things.
Man, the way in which, Zach, that, I've been following along with the Chiefs-Bills game today as well. And you see Josh Allen doing some of those things, of course, that we saw Bo do in the last few games, of just being able to step up in the pocket and throw off platform, hit those windows over the middle. Like you spoke about, the way that he was layering some of these throws in between coverages. It's something that we haven't seen in a long time. And I got a question for you, because I think that you talked about this earlier this year, about how as a rookie quarterback, you're looking for, I forget, a certain number of games in which the rookie quarterback is really showing out. My brain's a little foggy right now with these allergies, but how many of those games have we had now with Bo that you feel really, really good about, where like he's doing or performing above expectation right now? I mean, probably close to 3, 4, something like that, right?
Yeah, I would say so. And then I think the big thing is, I'd say it's like 3.5 in a row. Or actually, I'm skipping over the Ravens game, but even that wasn't terrible. Like it's if you were to rank all his performances, like what are the best ones? 5 of the 6 or 4 of the top 5 are probably these last 4 weeks. Or no, it's 5 now. Yeah, if you want to go back to the Saints game, 5 of the top 6 are probably those last 5 weeks, and then you have the Bucks game sprinkled in there. Like this is all better than the Raiders game. There was still a lot of the stats ended up nice, and it was a blowout win for the Broncos, but there was still a lot of ugly from Bo Nix in that game. In the sense I was kind of talking about earlier in regard to the Saints game, where it's like, hey, this is a rookie quarterback, ups and downs. There's some positives, some things to grow. Yeah. I think that's a fine level for a rookie quarterback to be at. What we're seeing now is above and beyond. It's very exciting. I don't know if he'll be able to catch Jaden Daniels on the offensive rookie of the year race. It's definitely possible. Daniels and Washington have just built themselves up a nice lead, but Cliff Kingsbury has a career-long trend of fading pretty hard to the pack. I think Bo Nix just also has the narrative stuff against him. We've seen it that a lot of, I think, national analysts were low on Bo Nix entering the draft, and I think they've still been a little slow to, adjust. Us talking
Was it
about
the
our
33rd team that came out like a week ago that said that he's been a D or something like that with his performance thus far? Or was
TFN
TFN?
had him at a D. 33rd team had him ranked as like the 27th best quarterback in the league. Steven Ruiz with the Ringer has him 34th right now, which is four spots
Imagine
behind.
that we're 6-5 with the 34th best quarterback in
Yeah,
the
not even
NFL.
starting caliber. And that's the thing. It's like last week, I think you should. And last week he adjusted, but he had him at 39th and he bumped him up to 34th. But I think last week it was clear that, like, okay, this guy's giving the Broncos a better chance to win than Andy Dalton would or Joe Flacco would. There's 3-4 quarterbacks ranked above Bo Nix that have been benched by their teams or benched by their teams multiple times even. Point being, this is a vote that national media votes on. Some team media too, but media votes on it. And Bo Nix has a lot of ground to make up. Doesn't matter if we're having this conversation about, oh man, could Bo Nix win offensive rookie of the year over this guy who had the best September and October rookie months we've ever seen from an NFL quarterback? That's a great conversation to be. I don't care if the answer is ultimately yes. The fact we're here on November 17th, again, after the September and October that Jaden Daniels had, great. That's money. Who cares if you get the meaningless trophy at the end of the day? It'd be nice. Bragging rights are fun. Doesn't really matter as much as the substantive play we're seeing from the guy.
Yeah, right now, Bo Nix, he's got the Broncos positioned to break the second longest postseason drought in the NFL right now. Something that Aaron Rodgers is going to have no success with up in New York with the Jets. So, yeah, even if he doesn't win that award, I think that as long as things continue to trend in the right direction, which I don't see why we would see a backslide at this point or anything like that. Like you pointed out, this isn't gimmicky stuff. It's not like we're just running RPO stuff. We're not treating this like Shanny and RG3 years and years ago. Nah, man, this is different stuff. He knows the playbook. I want to give him credit to that. We've had veteran quarterbacks in here, that had trouble learning the playbook. This is not easy. If you play in the NFL at quarterback, outside of some exceptions, maybe Paxton Lynch, you got a pretty seriously high IQ, and not every quarterback can play for this coach. The fact that he can do this right now, it's why I'm sky high.
Man, everyone remember the Buzz Lightyear wristband that Drew Lock rocked? Funny story about that. I haven't told this on the show before because I didn't think it was my story to necessarily break, and I also didn't want the Drew Lock people getting mad at me. But I think we're happy about Bo Nix now. I don't think I got to worry about Drew Lock people coming at
me.
Mama
Lock, she ain't gonna say anything.
Yeah, she's fine now. I had this was back when I was on the Broncos beat during the Drew Lock era. I had another member of the Broncos beat tell me their sourced information was that Drew Lock needed that Buzz Lightyear wristband because he was not super familiar with the playbook when he took over in 2019 and needed that just to understand what the plays were, knew how to read things out, knew how to make the different translations and whatnot. Maybe it's not true. I don't know. You know what? We don't have to have that question with Bo Nix because he's making kills at the line of scrimmage. He's making adjustments. Man, and the comfort in the pocket is great. It was so ugly early on in the season, and now he's just like, there's still some room for growth there, absolutely, but he's starting to find the happy medium between, like, what he did against the Chargers was awesome. It's so great to have some of that creative ability, but it can also go like we saw against the Chiefs a couple times where it's like a 20-yard sack. And it's like, dude, you can't be retreating in the pocket that hard, that crazy. It's finding where you can marry those two kind of like sides of the coin and when to do it. Like Mahomes scrambling. He's such a devastating scrambler. He just like never does it. Knowing when to tap into that is so valuable. I think Nick's is starting to channel that too. Just sorry, I'm losing it, but just the maturity he's playing with and all the growth. It's so exciting, man. It's been a long time coming.
This is what you should expect when a quarterback's had 60 starts in college football, man. And I want to piggyback on the maturity. You heard his comments this week sticking up for Alex Forsyth. And I think that Bo Nix has helped. Not that he's the sole reason we have some wonderful veteran captains here in the locker room, but he has helped unify this team and keep the team going in the right direction. He is truly somebody that I think the team gravitates around. And you saw that in today's game. I don't really have an issue with this since it was a blowout at this point, but you saw Garrett Bowles, I think it was Garrett Bowles or maybe it was Quinn Miners, I forget, take exception to that kind of late hit there by one of the Falcons defensive linemen. Instead of former offensive linemen shoving our quarterbacks on the sideline, we now have our offensive linemen sticking up for Bo when if they take exception with how he's being treated on the field. Again, and this is just something different than what we've seen with our quarterbacks in years past, and it's great to see.
Certainly. It's checking so many boxes. The run game, too. I thought Javante had a bounce back game.
Does he just need to play like every 2 weeks? Because he looked much more fresh.
I don't think it's the craziest thing. And the fact it was at 0 last week and went to this usage makes me think that it might have been a little like trying to refresh him, get him. I mean, I don't know, but it worked. He looked a lot better today. Had some ugly moments with his vision, but just ran a lot better than what we had seen in past weeks. And now you've got you've got 3 at least functional backs back there to where, hey, if that's what Javante needs, I mean, I don't think you should be re-signing the guy this offseason, but if that's what Javante needs these last, 2 months of the season, all right, I'm fine with that. Hey, 3 on, 1 off. Let's do it. I don't care. We can have that luxury for these last 2 weeks. I'm not worried about is this the franchise running back conversation or anything like that?
I'm not expecting him to have the vision of Barry Sanders anymore, anything like that, right? But as long as he just keeps those legs moving, positive things happen. I think one of my favorite moments today was when he had that long touchdown run, getting to the 5-yard line, but continuing to just keep his feet moving, and then you see everybody come around him and push him into the end zone. That's the kind of smash mouth football I love.
That was so fun. Like I tweeted about it, but I haven't often seen a guy picked up and carried in on that play where his cleats were dangling, and that got a good chuckle out of me. Also got to talk about Marvin Mims. It is clear that is not just some sort of gadget deal. They found something there. Created some mismatches in the passing game with that. And then as a runner too, they had the end around that was working. They blew up that one run, but that was more of an offensive line mistake than anything to do with Marvin Mims. So that's great. You're turning a player that unfortunately was a 0 just by the fact that they didn't feel good getting him on the field for any route running stuff. And now they are finding a niche that he can be really valuable in, as kind of this Cordero Patterson running back, kind of bubble screen dude. And it's working. It's fun.
Yeah, shout out to Kodiak Broncos. He had a responding tweet to mine about Marvin Mims, and he called him Diet Debo. And I love that nickname. I love how we were using him. And of course, Sean Payton, he can be a little stubborn. We know that that's one of his qualities, just like, the Shanahans and all that kind of follows in that mold. And it might have taken Sean Payton a little longer than a lot of what Broncos country has wanted to see with the usage of Marvin Mims. Marquee Sports has talked about since the beginning of the season how he just hasn't liked how Marvin Mims has been used. And I think over the last couple of weeks, you've finally seen Sean Payton make a really great adjustment, saying, you know what? We're going to stop using Marvin Mims to run all these long developing routes. And that's just not his strength. you see him not run them well. You see him make concentration drops at certain points. It's just not great. And where is Marvin Mims excelling at? It's just when you get him the ball quickly. He doesn't have to run these long routes. Sean Payton's scheming this stuff up for him really well. I mean, the wheel route first down catch was a thing of beauty. And I just love the way they're using him. It really does put a lot of stress on the defense because he is a dynamic weapon. I think now he's starting to play with some confidence that we really haven't seen before yet in his Broncos career.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think you saw it on his returns too.
Yeah.
I think it benefited the return game, and I think you definitely saw that confidence when he did the little stutter step or like little high step move for no reason. There's no need to do that. I'm not upset about it, but there was absolutely no reason to do that, and he just did it anyways. I think that demonstrates some of the fun he's having. I don't know what everyone's sack count was today. So as I read these off, know that. Also, dang, Dante Fowler with 11 games here has got a one extra. He's at 8.5. But okay, league leader in sacks. Excuse me, is Trey Hendrickson. He's got 11 going into Sunday Night Football. Then you're at Dexter Lawrence. He's got 9 going into today. Dante Fowler had 8.5 after Thursday Night Football. Will McDonald had 8 going into today. You got Aiden Hutchinson, Trayvon Walker, and Will Anderson all at 7.5 going into today. And then you've got a big tie between Kyle Van Noy, Myles Garrett, Frankie Louvu, Jonathan Grenard, and Nick Benito. Well, Nick Benito got 2 sacks today. I know he's going to hop past some of these people. He's a top 5 sack getter in the league in a very split edge rushing group that, isn't, forcing him to play all these snaps. We've talked about Jonathan Cooper and how big that's been for the Broncos. What you're seeing out of Jonah Ellis, who's near the top of the rookie leaderboard in terms of sacks, pressures, pass rush win rate, all that stuff. Finding him, having Nick Benito take yet another huge leap in his development. He took a big leap from year 1 to year 2. This is another big leap from year 2 to year 3. Transformative for this edge group to where they traded Baron Browning, and it's a non-talking point these 2 games. It doesn't even matter because of what they're getting from these other guys, chiefly Nick Benito right now.
Yeah, he's been incredible. And correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, but wasn't Trey Hendrickson a Sean Payton draft pick back in the day for the Saints? So obviously
Day
Sean,
2.
yeah, he's got an eye, and I think we got another hit at that position with Jonah Ellis. And credit to Nick Benito, man. He has surpassed my expectation for his development this year. He's been incredible. And like you said, I mean, Baron Browning he's an afterthought right now. The fact that we could get a 6th-round pick for a guy with no sacks this year is absolutely incredible. And DeAndre Tillman, I believe he blew up a play in the backfield, might have had a TFL if I'm remembering correctly. We're so deep at that edge position. I think we got the front office as well as the coaching staff. I think it's pretty clear that they can identify risers out of that position, which is just it's just huge, man. None of these guys that we've had are 1st-round picks that are balling for us at the edge position. I love it.
I love it too. It's amazing. I love this Steve Bronx comment. Honestly, this felt like a pretty mild game from the pass rush, and they still got 4 sacks. That's the most Kirk Cousins has been sacked, or tied for the most in any game this season. And that 4-sack game was an overtime game against the Bucks. So, most he's gotten sacked in a 60-minute contest this season. I think that's really impressive. And it's hard to sack him because he's been unloading the ball so quick, even though he's immobile. He's been getting pressured a good bit, but he's been getting rid of the ball to avoid those negative plays. This pass rush just, oh my Lord. And then there were some that, were half seconds away from being sacks. It's very exciting to me what this whole team has going. One thing I lost my train of thought on it earlier, but why not 12-5? I saw a comment, and I don't know if they win out the rest of the regular season, but with the way they're playing right now, it's very possible. This win over the Falcons is way better than any win on the Chargers resume right now. The Chargers' best win is their win over the Broncos. This is way more impressive than a close win over a team like that, they absolutely just dominated them for 60 minutes. So why not? With an elite defense like this, if Bo can play, like he has over the last month consistently for the rest of the way, if you have that level of quarterbacking and an elite defense, same conversation we're having with the Steelers, kind of, except I think the Broncos are getting better level of quarterbacking right now. You got a defense like that. You got a good enough quarterbacking. You got good coaching. You got good special teams play. You can be a nightmare for people. I wouldn't put them in the same level as the Bills, as the Ravens, as the Chiefs. But if they can keep playing like, they played today, like they did last week, I think they're comfortably in like that Steelers tier. As crazy as that sounds. And I know the Steelers beat the Ravens today. I don't take them as seriously as that Ravens team in the long run, but feel damn good about the Broncos, man. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, we can play spoiler, man. And we get a rematch against the Chargers, which is going to be great. I don't see us being thrown off by their level of physicality this next game. No. We're going to handle business, I think. Obviously they're a well-coached team, but I think I don't know how much you buy into this, but I think there might be some truth to maybe we were looking ahead a few days to that New Orleans Saints game and just the preparation and everything like that against the Chargers. But we're going to be locked in, ready to go. And I felt this way after the Chiefs game last week, Zach. I think we talked about it, where it's like, I don't see how we're not going to be in every game, like at minimum that we play in. Like if we can play the Chiefs the way we did last week and essentially put ourselves in position to beat them at the end of the game, if we can overcome this and continue to just improve some little things, which I think we are doing, who's to say, man, we can't go 12-5, but the fact that we could take care of business in such a dominating way after a heartbreaking loss last week, it just goes to show, I think, that this team, they got the right mix of guys. They got the right character. They got the right level of buy-in and like focus. And again, you're doing this with a lot of guys that just aren't first-round picks. We haven't had a ton of draft capital, and George Paton, Sean Payton, they have found dudes at bargains that have been able to play above their pay value. Let's talk about Cody Barton. Remember when Cody Barton got fired? Everybody wanted to shit on this guy. Everybody wanted to shit on this signing, saying, man, we're gonna suck going from Josie Jewell to this guy. Nah, man.
I was one of them.
Oh.
I'm not taking offense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I deserve to be dunked on. I was wrong. I'll eat all the crow.
And now look at him, man. Another interception. He's playing lights out. Sternad, I gave up on him. I gave up on Sternad. Now it's like, man, I completely forgot, dude, that Alex Singleton was playing linebacker to start the year, which is, probably is going to make you chuckle a little bit, Zach.
Yeah. And I feel bad a little for Alex Singleton, even as a guy who's often torn him down, because I don't know how he sticks around in Denver after this year. They can free up a ton of money by letting him go. He's coming off a bad injury, and I think they've gotten better linebacker play out of Sternad and Barton than they were getting out of Singleton. So I think that'll be an easy decision for this team. But I love what you said about how good this team has done, because they're down on picks and they're down on money too. Sorry, I said that word, money. They've got $70 million in dead cap. It's crazy. And I think some teams just always have dead cap, and it perpetuates. Broncos fans should be optimistic that this is kind of a one-year thing. Outside of the Russell Wilson deal, they have $200,000 in dead cap, and it's dead cap from like cutting Nick Gargiulo and putting him on the practice squad. It's those types of like, oh, they cut a late 7th round pick, the type of dead cap moves that everyone has. It's like 10 dudes totaling $200,000 in dead cap. The moves they've made on this roster financially, outside of the Russ move, really since that Russ move, have been so smart. Just really good contracts, really prudent decisions. And now you're at a spot where, 2 years from now, this team's going to have not only, the 30 million extra dollars that'll come with the salary cap always going up. They're going to have 70 million extra dollars because their dead cap situation is in great order. So imagine the team we just saw with $100 million worth of talent more added to it, with Bo Nix having, 15 more games of experience, maybe a playoff game in there under his belt, too. Peyton more time to engineer this offense, a couple more, like, let's say 6 more top 75 picks on this roster. That's going to be a much better team than what we're seeing now. And that's when you start talking about, Super Bowls and some really big, exciting things. That path doesn't look so foggy right now. It looks very tangible. And I think that's incredibly exciting for Broncos country.
I just want to manifest it. Bring in the family. Bring in Tez Johnson. Let's make him one of our picks. That would be great if we can do that. But the fact that we got such a solid foundation in the positions right now, Zach, that really matter in the trenches, at edge, on the offensive line, linebacker. I mean, we have proven to just be able to find inside linebackers. Like, it's amazing. The fact that we don't even have to worry about this secondary for years to come, insane. Like, now we can just focus on making this offense like New Orleans Saints level type of stuff over the next coming years. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's very achievable. I love this comment about seeing the Seahawks fans floored by how well Cody Barton playing has been really great. And yeah, it has been a little therapeutic. It's a reverse Russell Wilson. It's nice.
Yes.
Took their guy. Now he's played a lot better. Last thing I wanted to talk about, if you have anything else to throw it out there, but I think we got to talk about Jaquan McMillan. He's gonna be, maybe some people's lone negative, a lot of people's lone negative point from this game. He got beat a lot. I'm gonna defend him a little bit. He gave up a good number of receptions, probably more than anyone. He had that big 4th down conversion he gave up that leads to 3 of the Falcons' 6 points. You know what? I think he was put in a really brutal situation today, and I think he actually played like pretty well. Drake London in the slot is a lot bigger than McMillan. That's kind of a hard defensive mismatch, and it's not just as simple as like, oh, we'll put Patrick Surtain in the slot. I don't think he has 50 slot snaps over the course of his career. Like, that's not really what you do. So that's 1. 2, the Falcons, I don't have the numbers in front of me. They run that cheat motion. For people who don't know, it's what Mike McDaniel kind of invented last year. They run that cheat motion at one of the highest rates in the league. And that's nightmare for a man-heavy slot defender like Jaquan McMillan, because at the last second, your assignment, your entire role, everything is getting swapped on you last second. And it's getting swapped in a really meaningful, dramatic way, because you're going from covering a guy like Drake London to 0.1 seconds before the snap. I'm covering Darnell Mooney now. Dramatically different receivers that just require different strategies, different approaches, and you're giving, and it's intentional. It's smart offensive coordinating. It's helped the Falcons offense be really successful. But also, once the Broncos, once this game wasn't super close, and I think people were more focused on Bo than the defense, Jaquan McMillan wasn't that much of a concern, right? Like, he actually, I think, played a pretty solid game. It was just when it was 14-6, when it was somewhat a back and forth game, he got burnt a good bit. But such a hard assignment. I'm okay with it. I was fine with this game.
Of course, we want to see perfection, but what is Jaquan McMillan? 5'11", man, going up against Drake London, who's 6'5". I mean, as the Falcons should. They were exploiting that kind of size differential. And even on most of the plays that he was beat on, like, Kirk Cousins was making exceptional throws. Like, the placement there was great, and a great throw is going to be good to great coverage, man. That's just how it is. Like, his ball placement was fantastic on some of those throws. Like you said, when you're playing man, you're going to get beat at some point. But I think we forgot to mention this, with the no-fly zone in attendance for this game, I think that they were quite pleased with the performance of the secondary and the defense in general with this game. I think that, hot take, maybe. I'll take Jaquan McMillan over Sauce Gardner right now. That guy is getting burned out of his cleats.
With how they're playing, absolutely. I don't think it's a debate with how those two are playing. And people listening to you are gonna have their ears perk up and call you a homer. But I think you're right. If you were to watch how those two are playing, McMillan is playing comfortably better than Gardner's probably a bottom half of the league corner this year.
Yeah, he's been trash. I don't say that lightly.
No, which is great because now it's like, okay, well, so that debate's done, and I've seen it with the national podcasts I listen to and whatnot. It is okay. So Patrick Surtain's number one, and going into the season, it was Surtain Gardner. It's right there. I personally lean Surtain, but it's a coin flip. It depends on the day, and I'm quoting like I think that's word for word like Nate Tice or Deontay Lee's opinion on the matter. Going in now, when they talk about the cornerback thing, they were just talking about with their midseason awards, and if Surtain could win Defensive Player of the Year, it's like he's solidified it. He's way better than Gardner.
Yeah, we had to wait like 20 years because the East Coast buys with Darrelle Revis versus Champ Bailey was, we all know where Broncos country sits in that debate, but it's been nice to see that it's not even a debate right now. We got the best cornerback in football.
Yeah. And then, am I on mute? Did I mute myself there?
No,
I didn't. I was worried I muted myself. I got this comment right here from D-Brox I want to highlight, and then that'll actually be my last point. Shouting out Vance Joseph. Every national podcaster predicted Kyle Pitts and Bijan to exploit Vance's defense, and they were both shut down. Just underlining this point, Bijan Robinson, 12 carries for 35 yards today, so under a 3 yards per carry average. And then in the passing game, he had 5 catches for 28 yards, 15 of those on one catch, that early snag. Outside of that, he's 3 for 13 through the air. And then again, the 12 for 35 on the ground made him a non-factor. Kyle Pitts was targeted 3 times today, just comes away with 1 catch for 9 yards. So 3 yards per target there. He was made completely ineffective. Algier, 1 touch for -1 yards. Darnell Mooney had been having a breakout season, 2 catches for 27 yards. Even Drake London, the guy we just spent all that time talking about, he gave McMillan a hard time, 3 catches, 61 yards on 7 targets. That's not that bad. Pretty great day from this Broncos defense, to your point and D-Bronx point here.
Yeah, man, this defense, they got the right ingredients. And again, credit to Sean Payton. It's been a few weeks since I've talked about this, but the fact that this man did not fire Vance Joseph after giving up 70 points last season, his patience with not only the coaching staff, but some of the players that I've even said, you got to cut them. You got to just make them inactive, all this stuff. It's paying off. Like finally we're seeing Troy Franklin, not just catch the ball, man, but showing some shiftiness, some grit, and getting some
breaking tackles.
Like that's been cool to see. It's maybe Sean Payton is guilty of just having some of his guys. Will Jordan Humphrey, he's gonna make me go crazy. He's gonna make me go absolutely crazy. But I think the overall patient approach and non-panic approach that Sean Payton has had since taking over, you're seeing the fruits of it, man. This team is getting better as the season goes on. That's what good football teams do.
They absolutely do. Feeling good. David, 6 games left. Raiders on the road, Browns at home, Colts at home, Chargers on the road, Bengals on the road, Chiefs at home. What is the Broncos record at season's end?
I'm going to go with 10-7, baby. I like it. I like it. That's the one that I need. I originally predicted them to go 9-8, but Bo's blown away my expectation right now with how he's playing right now. So, hey, 10 wins, I'm going to be ecstatic with. But like we talked about earlier, I think if we lose some of these games, it's just going to be because we didn't bring it, man. I don't see us getting dominated by any of these teams, man. When we're at our best, we can win every single game left on the slate.
I fully agree. And you know what? Maybe I'm a little drunk off the Kool-Aid right now. I'm saying 11-6. I don't think this defense is going away. I think they're here. I don't think this was just some flash in the pan against bad offenses.
That's what Mike Kliss predicted at the beginning of the year. I think 11 wins.
Mike Kliss, soothsayer. But I mean, the defense, and then if the offense is playing like this, I'm excited to look at the advanced metrics once those are available, because I think when I look at them, they're going to say that over the last month, this Broncos offense is a top 10 offense. And if you got an elite defense and a top 10 offense, damn, it's hard to beat you. It's really, really hard to beat you. That's the Chiefs formula right now, quite literally. So I just, man, I don't know. I'm feeling drunk off the Kool-Aid. I'm saying 11-6. David, where can they find your work as the Buffs go on this fun run, as the Broncos go on this fun run? Where can they get more David Talks?
Yes. Follow me, David Talks Buffs. We just hit 10K subscribers. Isn't that crazy? So y'all come over there. We got a lot of fun that we're having on that channel. And of course, David Talks Broncos. I think we're less than 50 subs away from 2,000. So giving you Broncos and Buffs content daily. And I'll be back tomorrow doing a post-game stream with my friends Jeremy and Mark from Marquee Sports, who covers Denver sports tomorrow. So y'all be sure to check that out. They are staples with my weekly schedule on the podcast. So would really appreciate you guys showing some love over there. Thank you, Zach.
Absolutely. Everyone, please go support David. We love talking Buffs with him, Broncos with him. We're honestly, since we started doing that whole thing, these teams are pretty
we win, baby. Just win, baby.
We might be the magic formula, but everyone check that out. We'll be back on Monday. I'm here for all the shows this week, so I'm excited about that. Monday, Wednesday, we got altitude adjustment on Tuesday. So subscribe, and then we're getting going on. I'm getting the clips posting on YouTube Shorts here, also on TikTok. So look for Let's Talk Broncos on TikTok. Help us out with those YouTube Shorts in the algorithm. Comment if you enjoyed the show. That always really, really helps us out. Sincerely, it's silly, but this YouTube algorithm, you hit us with a like, you hit us with some comments, it really meaningfully impacts us. Yes. So thank you everybody for your support, and until next time, let's go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Dude, thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.